It's the Score North Twin Show.
All right, the Twins signed a guy. The Twins signed it was like a week and a half ago, or like a week ago. Josh Staumont. Welcome to Target Field, sir. And your 6.5 walks per 9 rate. So he's a big strikeout guy, a big walk guy. Had a couple good seasons like 3 years ago. Bullpen guy. Maybe the Twins can get their hands on him and Mr. Miyagi him. But he is the first incoming player for the 2024 Twins after losing Sonny Gray, Kenta Maeda, Emilio Pagan, Andrew Stevenson, Tyler Mahle, Michael A. Taylor, still a free agent. By the way, Kiermaier and Harrison Bader both off the board in the last couple weeks, too, in terms of center field options, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Can they just bring back Taylor? Like, I understand he's not ideal, but he could play center field and like he's a known commodity. Yeah. And I don't think he's going to cost you the world. I'm not asking you to spend a ton. I'm not even asking you. Sign him to a 1-year contract again. I just want the security of a guy that can really play the position, and we know it.
Yeah, I mean, do they have any money? I mean, what's their TV situation? Did they find some coins in the couch cushions over holiday break?
We haven't found out yet. It's still TBA.
I'm telling you, I was driving in to downtown Minneapolis last night and looking over like 394 coming into downtown, looking at Target Field. I feel like the lights are dimmer than usual. Are they trying to save on the electricity bill too?
Might be. Who knows?
I feel like they usually have brighter lights, so you can see it from afar. I feel like they're trying to find some ways to save on their electrical bill too until they find a new TV partner.
There's a possibility. I'm not asking for a lot. Just Michael A. Taylor, okay? Like, I'm not asking for a big Christmas gift here.
Good, because Christmas is over, so you didn't get one.
Well,
you did actually. His name is Josh Staumont.
Yeah, Josh Staumont. Yeah. Here's a Staumont. Oh, thanks, Mom and Dad. Guess we're poor.
Hey, we have later in the show here, the Twins are on the grid. Yeah. The Twins are on the grid, so we're going to try and go low. The Twins and a team that Judd and I both grew up watching on WGN, the Cubs are also on the grid today.
Love when the Cubs are on the grid.
So anytime the Twins and Cubs are on the grid, we should be able to go low. But our guy Declan here has been ruminating for the last couple days on Twins projected opening day lineups here. So we're going to turn the show. We're going to turn the show over to Declan, and the only rules are we have to have lineups without Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco because we project those guys to probably not be on the team, right?
Correct. So no Polanco, no Kepler, all internal options. So I'm not making an external player on the Twins.
You didn't trade for Mike, fantasy trade for Mike Trout.
Yeah, that's all you've got right now is internal options.
There was, there's been revisions. There's been revisions. There's been a lot of different things. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't like this exercise because it was very difficult dealing with these internal options with no external options. I'll be frank. I wouldn't say I didn't like it. It was difficult. It was difficult. I liked it. It was difficult.
I hope you have some spring training surprises on the roster. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, because you're only working with the 40-man roster right now, and it's like I think we would all agree it can't be complete right now. There's no way. Obviously, with Kepler and Polanco, there's been several reports, and there's even like a big MLB trade rumors article that kind of lists like the most likely options for Jorge Polanco. So that whole thing is coming down the pipeline at some point in January. But we're going to take those guys off the board. Okay. Declan's going to project the opening day lineup here. All right.
Okay, so I do have two lineups. I have a lineup against righties, and I have a lineup against lefties. So would you like me to start with the righties, or is that how you like to go about this?
Should I go from there? You're going to face more right-handed pitchers. Let's start with versus a right-handed pitcher.
All right. Version 1.0 versus right-handed pitching. Here is my Twins opening day lineup.
Oh, that's great.
Leading off for your Minnesota Twins and playing second base, Edward Julian. Edward Julian will lead things off. Rakes right-handed pitching. Horrible against left-handed pitching, but a very good eye at the plate. I believe he made MLB's all-rookie team. Good guy to set the top of your order. He leads things off for me.
Yeah. Okay. He's a machine.
Batting second might be a little bit of a surprise because I don't think you really would have this guy typically in the 2-hole. But after doing some research and figuring out he's actually a little quicker than you think he is, and he also destroys right-handed pitching. Playing right field will be Matt Wallner. I'm going to move up Matt Wallner to the second spot in this batting order, and I'm going to have him in right. You'll see why, because I have someone else in left. Wallner did play right with St. Paul, so he has experience in right field, by the way. An incredible OPS of 950 against right-handed pitching, a sprint speed in the 67th percentile. He's not flat-footed. This is not just a big lug necessarily on the bases. I could see him still hitting 4th or 5th in this lineup, but this is Declan's lineup, and he's hitting 2nd with my opening day lineup. So he's in right field batting 2nd.
He does feast on right-handed pitching. So if you can feature him, I like where I'm curious to see where the rest of the lineup is going here, but I don't hate this.
All right, so batting 3rd and playing 3rd, Royce Lewis. Future of your team, Mr. Clutch. Awesome moments in the postseason. I don't know how you don't have this guy batting 2nd or 3rd in the lineup. He's been incredible. Hopefully he stays healthy, but he's the most important piece in this lineup, potentially. He could have a breakout year if he plays 150 games or so. Yeah. So he bats 3rd in my lineup, playing 3rd base.
That's right. Okay. Are we, how confident are we now that he's kind of put the injuries behind him? Are we going to be nervous every time he's running to first base now that like a hamstring or something?
I would say on like a 10, like a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being Buxton level scared. I'm at like a 6 or 7 with him. Like I'm not full on panic, but I mean, he's had a lot of injuries. Yeah. It's high for me.
Yeah. Until he gets through like a season of, I don't know, take your pick, 140 games, something like that. Like a substantial amount, not 162. Obviously, I'm going to be nervous.
He's a stud though, man, when he's out there.
Oh,
Stud.
Stud.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay. Batting cleanup, batting 4th, a guy I have been especially hard on for the last month or so of the season. I'm going to put Alex Kirilloff batting cleanup. He plays first base. He's bats cleanup. I'm also going to assume that shoulder surgery is all good to go and he's healthy by opening day. I don't know the timeline of because he had the shoulder surgery, correct, right after the season.
It's questionable, but
I'm making some assumptions here. Again, I've only have internal options to deal with, but I'm going to assume that shoulder is good to go. He destroyed right-handed pitching last year, so I'm going to have him bat cleanup at first base for me.
He makes me as nervous as Royce does too, though. Like as far as, is he ever going to reach his potential because of, ailments that seem to find him?
Well, and with him, with both him and Royce Lewis, we're kind of beyond the point of, are they going to be productive major league? Like we know they can hit when they're healthy.
Correct.
And with Royce, his injuries have essentially just taken him off the field. So when he's on the field, you're just seeing a fully realized, well, not yet because he's still young, but you're like when he's on the field, he's healthy and he's performing at a high level. With Kirilloff, it's a bit more of a gray area because I think he's been grinding. He's been in the lineup grinding through things, shoulder, wrist, the last 2 or 3 years. So you might look at his productivity and be like, oh, I don't know. He's played like 200 games. He's batting 259. The power's not really there. Can he hit major league pitching? And I think the answer is unequivocally yes when he's healthy.
Yep.
And if you look at, my God, like the last time, let's look at just real quick here, like his AAA production, which doesn't tell the whole story. There's been guys like Chris Colabello or Terry Tiffey from like 20 years ago. Just because you mash AAA pitching doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate. But Alex Kirilloff at AAA has a 366 average, a 1,131 OPS, and only 41 strikeouts in 236 trips. Like he has fully conquered the minor leagues, and when he's been healthy, he's raked at times in the majors too. So you just have to hope shoulder, wrist, because he could legitimately be one of their best hitters if he is finally clear of some of these injuries.
All right, continuing down the list, batting 5th for the Twins, and 5 and 6. I think I would not be. You could swap these guys either or. I think it's fine, but push comes to shove, I'm going to give Ryan Jeffers the 5th spot in this batting lineup. He had a breakout year, really good numbers against right-handed pitching too last year. So I'm going to keep Ryan Jeffers at 5th in this lineup at catcher, and I'll slide Carlos Correa at 6 at shortstop. So here's the thing. Correa last year really struggled against right-handed pitching. 690 OPS, only hit 224. Pretty good against lefties, but really struggled against righties. Historically, Correa does hit right-handers fairly well. He hits lefties better in his career naturally. But I'm going to give right now the benefit to Jeffers, but I would not be upset. And I understand, pecking order and captaincy and leadership, yeah, you probably want Correa a little higher in your batting order, but I think Ryan Jeffers is the better man for this spot right now. So I have Jeffers 5th and Correa 6th in this lineup.
So I get what you're doing here, because if you just look at last year's productivity, Correa was not productive for the most part. But I think a lot of that was due to the plantar fasciitis issues that he had. If we're assuming he's coming back without those issues, and for the reasons you mentioned, like just politically and everything, he's going to be higher than 6th in all lineups. And by the way, like against right-handed pitching and left-handed pitching, he has an OPS over 800 in his career against right-handed. So he doesn't struggle against right-handed pitching when he's healthy.
Yeah.
So if he's healthy, he's 100% going to be higher than 6th in the order is my pushback here.
But 5th is fair, right? I mean,
no, he's 6th.
Seems... No. I'm saying if he just goes up, slots up, as Declan said, one slot. If you flip him with Jeffers, that's probably what would take place. I think he'll hit 5th.
Sure. I think it's more likely he hits 5th. But again, this is
like you're not dropping him to 9th or something.
Yeah, this is Declan Baldelli.
Yeah.
I think like there's something too with baseball players that 5th is still the meat of the lineup. You can ego-wise, you can talk a baseball player into like, hey man, like we want the table to be set for you.
You're gonna drive in more runs this way. Yep.
6th is the beginning of the end of the lineup.
5th is the cutoff. I agree with you completely.
From an ego standpoint, like if you've been in the league for as long as he has and you've put up big seasons and whatever, like you're getting paid $30 million a year. Yeah. You're gonna want to hit 5th or higher, right?
Yeah.
So that would be a political discussion for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
So 7, 8, 9. Fun little exercise here. Batting 7th, playing left field, and making your opening day lineup is Austin Martin.
Wow.
Okay. Austin Martin has more experience in left field than right field, hence that's why I put Wallner in right, Martin in left. Yep. Good OBP guy. He's gotten on base a ton in the minor leagues. That's important, but has yet to really show to hit for power consistently. That being said, I think he makes this lineup. I think he's a fringe guy towards the end of the spring training roster cuts, but I think he ends up making this lineup. And for me, he's batting 7th, playing left field in my opening day lineup.
I love this because it's go time for him. Like this is the time to find out. And your corner outfield positions are good because Wallner has an absolute cannon for an arm. So that makes perfect sense. I think because what I don't want is this. Well, Austin Martin's going to be our center fielder a lot, and then it's like, oh boy, that's a lot to ask. So I love this. I love this soft launch left field, but it's definitely go time.
Yeah, I am okay with the soft launching of Austin Martin 2 year, and like part of this exercise is we're dealing with the guys Declan's dealing with the guys who are available right now on the 40 man, right? He did have more experience in left field. He played 14 games in left field versus 12 games in center field last year. Now for his minor league career, he's only played the 15 games in left, but he's also only played 65 games in center. So it's not like he has like a wealth of experience in the outfield. But yeah, soft launching him in left field. Just get used to standing out there a little bit. I'm okay with this.
I like where this is going, especially if the eventual guy playing center can cover a lot of ground and help young Austin out.
Well, not so fast, because batting 8th and designated hitting is Byron Buxton. We're going to have low expectations for Byron Buxton. Low expectations so he can exceed the low expectations. That's kind of my thought process here.
This is disappointing right now, Declan. I'm very disappointed.
I mean, until he proves he can be healthy and play consistently, I can't bat him ahead of anyone else in this lineup. I don't care what you're paying him. I can't do that. I'm not going to put him in the outfield just yet. I would hope that he can get some time in the dang outfield in 2024. But for right now, he's my designated hitter, and he's batting as low as 8th.
I love that Declan has told Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa.
Yeah, he's
ruffling feathers. You guys are not hitting in the top 5 in this order against.
You're creating clubhouse problems, and we're on opening day. I love what you're doing.
Gabe Kepler. Yeah, I'm creating issues, and then I'm going to run it to front office instead. And batting 9th, rounding out this order, and playing center field, Willie Castro. I'm kind of out of options here. I don't know who else to play center field. He played 43. Let's see here, 45 games in center last year. He's on the 40 man. Actually, like in low key,
he's not a bad player.
Willie Castro had a really good year last year. He's a good utility guy to have, but If I'm working with what I got Castro at 9. So from 1 through 9 against right-handed pitching, your Twins opening day lineup is Julian at second, Matt Wallner at right, Royce Lewis at third base, Alex Kirilloff at first base batting fourth, Ryan Jeffers batting fifth at catcher, Carlos Correa batting sixth at shortstop, Austin Martin batting seventh and left, Byron Buxton DHing batting eighth, rounding things off, Willie Castro in center field.
And again, a disclaimer here. Max Kepler off limits for this exercise. Jorge Polanco off limits. The only other real options on the 40-man, and you could, and we'll fly through your lefty lineup here too, against left-handed pitching. But the guys that you kind of left out, like Kyle Farmer is still on the roster, but they might even when's the non-tender deadline?
They tendered him a contract.
Oh, they tendered him.
They did, but they might trade him.
They could trade him still. Jose Miranda, after a weird sort of injury-plagued, non-productive season.
Now a first baseman.
Nick Gordon is still on the 40-man roster.
He's on the bench. I'm fine with that.
Trevor Larnach, former first-round pick. Like, the only change I might look to make against right-handed pitching is putting Trevor Larnach in the corner instead of Austin Martin. But there is something to be said for just loading up on fast players in the outfield who can reduce your runs allowed. But
I can see Correa easily flipping with Jeffers. So Correa at sixth. I mean, I don't. Yeah. I think he'd have a problem, like Phil said.
Buxton would be, for political reasons, higher than Austin Martin too.
Yep. I think Byron Buxton, though, if he can play, I think that's an even bigger political problem, because fifth and sixth is like, okay, you're fifth and sixth, you don't like it, but Buxton at eighth, I think Buxton would want to be. I think Buxton would be higher, I should say.
If I could take, I actually really like the Julian. I like Wallner second, man. Like, that dude.
Top three's good.
That dude hits right-handed pitching. Royce Lewis has to be one of your top three hitters against both lefties and righties, I think.
I think Buxton's fourth.
Kirilloff, you think Buxton would be fourth and then push Kirilloff?
Yep.
So
I think they push Kirilloff down.
God, that's interesting. Okay, give us against left-handers. Just fly through it real quick.
Yeah, I'll fly through this. So leading things off against left-handed pitching, playing second base, is Kyle Farmer. Low key, Kyle Farmer hits left-handed pitching very well.
Yeah.
Go look up his numbers. Hitting like 290, got an OPS almost 800. He's a solid utility option. Okay, so he leads things off. He plays second base against a left-handed starter. Royce Lewis will bat second, playing third base. Carlos Correa will bat third, playing shortstop. He absolutely destroys left-handed pitching. I'm going to move Ryan Jeffers up to the cleanup spot. He'll bat fourth.
Wow, you love Jeffers. That's great.
This is where I'll give.
He was a stud last year.
I'll give Buxton a little bit more love here. Buxton will bat fifth and DH. I'll give him some more opportunities against left-handed pitching. He stunk against both last year, but theoretically, you'd like to think that he can hit left-handed pitching. I'll give him more of a benefit of the doubt here. He'll bat fifth and DH. I have Matt Wallner batting sixth against right field. So batting sixth, Matt Wallner. Both him and Kirilloff struggle mightily against left-handed pitching. Spoiler alert, I don't have Edward Julian in this lineup. I think eventually you got to have these guys figure out left-handed pitching too, by the way. It's not like I can't not play them. But in this scenario, Matt Wallner bats sixth in right field. Willie Castro move up to seventh. He'll still play center field. Alex Kirilloff at first base, batting eighth, and then Austin Martin will round out the order in left field. So the defensive alignments, outside of a flip of Farmer for Julian, are mostly all still the same. But that would be my lineup against left-handed pitching.
Interesting. Yeah, Julian, by the way, Julian was not nearly as bad in the minor leagues against left-handed pitching, but it's a lot of small sample size too. So at some point, it'd be great if he could just be in there every day at the top of your lineup. But I see what you're doing here. I think the moral of this story is the Twins need to get a couple more players in here.
Yep.
I think the moral of the story is Declan got extremely creative with a very small amount of paint.
Yeah.
The canvas didn't have a lot to go, and you were very creative.
Very Maddox-like.
I gotta admit, and he's a decent player, and to your point, in a utility role, he's good. But I really hate the fact that right now Castro has to be in the opening day lineup in center field. And both of these, I'd really like to have him off my bench because I do like him.
You are, I would say, in terms of like contending for the American League pennant, you are an unserious contender if your center field options to start the year are Byron Buxton, Willie Castro, and Austin Martin, right? You need someone. That is one of the two most important positions, that and shortstop. And if you're going to go try and win 95 games and push it beyond where you did last year, Willie Castro has to be a nice, versatile player off the bench for you, right?
And yes, Twins fans, we all know that they made the majority of their moves last couple of years in January. Okay, we're trying to come up with content because no one's done anything.
We're not like desperate. We have plenty of ideas. In fact, I've been putting together, and we can unveil this sometime maybe next week, the top 25 Twins of all time.
Yeah, I have content for next seat for like 2024, like what's going to take place.
Oh, I mean, you made it sound like we're desperate for content, which is why we just did that exercise. I wouldn't say that way.
We are desperate for content about the upcoming season until it's provided by the team.
No, we're not.
I like your idea about the top 25 Twins, but I'd also love to have things to sink our teeth into, like we do for Vikings and Timberwolves and Wild, when there's an actual free agency period and trading period that's active.
I didn't know you were so angsty over. Are we gonna have to shut the Twins show down if they don't sign another player? Or we can't talk about
I told
Royce
you
Lewis?
2 weeks ago, I'm angsty about baseball. It's not just a Twins thing. And I think Dex agrees with me. I'm angsty about baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I want them to make moves.
Well, the hot stove's great when it's on. Hot stove's not on right now.
No, it's not. By the way, for the top 25 Twins of all time, I do have them ranked 1 through 25. And I have consulted with 2 former Twins general managers to make sure that I'm not missing anything glaring. 2 former Twins general managers. One of them was adamant about a player that wasn't in the 25, said you got to find a way to put this guy in here somehow. So I got to see how much weight I put in there.
Terry told you got to get Roberto Kelly in there, man.
Marty Cordova has to be in the 25.
Rookie of the year, you a-hole.
Stud. All right, let's put the Twins on the grid here, immaculategrid.com. And this is a beauty here today because we have a category that I'm pretty sure we did that catcher category one time.
We did.
Did we?
Because we did use Jeff Rebele, which we could use again if we wanted to. But we're looking to go low here because the Twins are on the grid and the Cubs are on the grid. 2 teams that we've watched a lot on TV in our lives. We're looking for a Twin who was a Cub, a Twin who was an A, and a Twin who played catcher at least once. A Rocky who was a Cub, a Rocky who was an A, and a Rocky who played catcher at least once. And then a Blue Jay who was a Cub, a Blue Jay who was an A, and a Blue Jay who played catcher at least once. At first glance, LaTroy Hawkins has played for almost, if not all of these teams.
Oh.
No, he has, yeah.
I'm pretty sure LaTroy Hawkins has played for all of the teams on this grid. That's the first thing that comes.
I think you're right.
So, Judd, where do you want to start? Sports Dad?
Oh boy. All right. Let's start down with the Twins and Cubs. I'll throw one at you for a guy who was a Twin very, very briefly. I believe it was in the pennant race of '84, and then went to the Cubs, and I saw him on WGN. Do you guys remember, Phil, because Dex won't, do you remember Chris Spire?
I do remember Chris Spire. Yeah.
Chris Spire played for both the Twins and Cubs.
Wow.
So I'll start us off with
S-P-I-E-I or E-I-E-R.
Yes.
Right? I do remember that.
Very good. Very good.
That's a good,
Good
because
glove.
we're trying to go, I mean, there's a bunch of obvious ones like Ron Coomer, and
Right.
Spire is a good baseline for us. I'll give you another one from the night. 2 relievers, or actually one of them might have been a starter. Willie Banks was a failed top 5 pick for the Twins that went to the Cubs.
Damn.
And then there was a lefty specialist reliever that pitched for the Twins and the Cubs named Larry Cassian, who could also work.
Oh yeah, Larry Cassian.
I had his
was going to
baseball card.
suggest Scott Baker. Baker, after he injured out here, had stops with the Cubs and the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even the Rangers.
Brian Dunsing also went to the Cubs.
The Duds.
So I think if we're looking to go as low as possible,
Spire.
I'm going to say Spire or Cassian would be just not in anyone's mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are all going to be pretty low. You call it Cassian or Spire. Your call, Sports Dad.
Oh, try Spire.
Okay.
I'm just curious where he falls.
How you spell Spire?
S-P-E-I-E-R, I believe.
Yep. He's right
Chris
there.
Spire.
He's played for a long time. Look at 18 years.
Come on.
Point
0.1.
There you go. Starting out low.
Let's keep going on the Twins train here. So we've I feel like Twins A's. This is like the 5th time we've seen Twins A's on the grid. I mean, Danny Valencia. We've used
Valencia's
Sam
always there.
Fuld before.
Yep.
Use Sam Fold.
Boof Bonzer we've talked about using before.
Oh, the Boof. Oh,
Brent Gates. Brent Gates was among the late 90s Twins veterans.
You know who else? I think he might have finished up with the A's. Your guy, Rich Becker.
Rich Becker?
He
Oh.
finished up with the A's.
I think Grant Belfour actually might be too high. He
Yeah,
was really
Yeah.
good with Oakland.
I would agree with that.
Ruben Sierra made a pass through in whatever 04, 06. He was a Ranger and an A in the 90s and a Yankee. He was a Yankee too.
Kilty.
Boy,
right? Bobby Kilty.
Kilty's another one. I kind of like where Judd's going there.
Becker?
Rich Becker. Tom Kelly's least favorite player. Wow.
There we go.
Point
0.1. Okay. Obscure Twins catchers. With Jeff Rebele, we used one time because he emergency caught in a mid-90s game. So we know that's a low one.
All right, so all catchers I can think of that are random, especially in the last 10 years. Hosmil Pinto. Jose Morales. Chris Herman. Avila caught for them, I think, in the COVID year.
Yeah, he did.
If you want to go back even like 90s,
further,
2000s, they had a run of Marcus Jensen. I saw Marcus Jensen hit an inside the park home run at the Metrodome one time. The left fielder dove for what would have been a single, missed, and the ball rolled to the wall.
Yeah, there's a lot of great backup catchers. There was a guy when I was a kid by the name of Glenn Borgman who backed up Butch Weininger. But Marcus Jensen might be extreme. I mean, that's a pull.
Tom Prince from the early 2000s. I mean, Marcus Jensen's the most obscure one I can think of from...
Yeah, in Borgman's mind. So, like, I think all those guys are super obscure.
Okay.
Marcus Jensen?
Marcus Jensen.
I forgot all about Marcus Jensen.
Come on. He might have played for the A's too, actually.
There,
.03.
I don't think anyone remembers the name.
Oh, let's do some Cubs.
So I think Ted Lilly would work for, I think, all two of these squares.
Yep.
He would.
Might be a little high, but it would work.
Yep.
It's a good baseline.
Oh, we could use Valencia for Blue Jays A's if we wanted to.
Actually, hold on. Let's mark a
Okay.
Valencia, Lilly. I got in my head. That's a good one.
A's and Blue Jays.
Matt Stairs. I think he played for both those teams. Billy Koch, closer for both those teams in the early 2000s. This Valencia might be the play here, though.
Yeah, I think we play the hits a lot. He was probably.
So we've got a Valencia and a LaTroy.
Yeah, we could go all Twins.
If you want.
Point two.
Wait. What if we tried to go all Twins and low? So for Blue Jays catcher, Greg Myers, Pat Borders. I'm just trying to math. I don't know. We might run into a snag. Where could we deploy LaTroy the best?
Did Butera play for the Rockies?
Yes, he did.
He
Drew
did?
Butera played
Blue Jays too,
multiple years for the Rockies.
Should we fire Butera?
Sure.
Yes.
Drew Butera.
Greg Myers might be a good one too, Phil.
1%.
1%. Oh,
Nice.
this is great. So we're at one.
I love
We're
Greg Myers.
We're at less than 2% with 4 squares to go.
Greg Myers is going to be way lower than Borders for sure, because Borders was popular.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
If we're devoted to
Twins.
former Twins, then Greg Myers would be. We've used him before on some square. I can't remember.
Yeah, there you go.
That's great. Come on.
0.5?
Oh yeah.
0.5.
Oh,
This
dude.
is badass.
This is good.
Okay.
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 All right.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
where's Latroy deployed?
He pitched for Toronto. He pitched for Colorado. Did he pitch for the Cubs though?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He did.
He pitched for the Cubs.
I think he went to the Cubs after the Twins, right? And closed for.
Yes, for sure.
Do you want me to fire it for Toronto Cubs for Latroy?
Well, hold on. I'm just trying to think of other, because if our goal is to, well, there's a few things at stake here.
Right.
We're definitely on pace for the best rarity score. I think 8 or 9 is the best rarity score we've ever had.
Okay.
But we also have 6 squares filled out with all former Twins with 3 to go, and a LaTroy Hawkins in the bag, which means we would only need 2 former Twins. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Okay. Rocky Cub, Todd Walker is a former Twin who played for both those teams.
Okay.
Love it.
0.5.
0.5.
Dudes.
So we can deploy LaTroy in one of these. Do we have
What's
a
gonna be the
former Twin
rarest?
in another one?
Okay.
Okay.
A's Rockies. That's a
Did Fernando
that is
Rodney
pretty
go to
good.
the Rockies? He played for the A's.
Did he play for? Actually, shoot.
I don't remember.
Oh God, he's played for a bunch. He's
Bartolo
oh
never
my
played
God.
for the.
I have one for A's Rockies.
A's Rockies.
Pat Neshek played for both those teams. My guy, Brooklyn Center's own.
Oh, big time sports card. collector, too.
Well, that works.
Yes.
What is it?
0.5.
I was gonna say Brian Fuentes played for both those teams.
Oh, Brian Fuentes. Yeah.
Right.
And then LaTroy, unload LaTroy. Come on. This is huge.
4.
Oh!
Oh my God.
4.
Oh
With all
wow.
former Twins. Dude, I need to screenshot this. I'll grab
And
it
that's
on
the highest.
the YouTube video.
Latroy was 1%, right? That's the
Yes.
highest.
That's
both him and
Butera.
bonkers,
Butera
dude.
were 1.
Oh my God.
That's insane. I don't know that we can ever do a grid better than 9 former Twins and a 4% rarity score.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
Let's go. There it is. Your Score North Twin Show. We have just conquered the Immaculate Grid. Right there. By the way, if you take issue or if you have different ideas for Declan's righty and lefty lineups there, using only the options that we stated, no Max Kepler, no Polanco, no, you can't trade for Mike Trout, none of that stuff, hit us up in the YouTube comment section.
Speaking of St. Paul Saints, yeah.
Train's
the
coming
tracks
through.
when
You
the
don't know
train's
the train's
coming through.
celebrating. The
Get
train's
off the
celebrating the
tracks.
Immaculate Grid.
When the train's coming through.